Moody Theater. This is an iconic location in our fair city. But before I talk about why, I just want to comment on the relevance of Formula One. How many of you know that Formula One is the first ever professional sport based in Austin? It was about 10, 12 years ago when Circuit of the Americas was purpose-built just past the airport to be the first and only purpose-built Formula One track in North America. And for several years, before Miami, Las Vegas, I think Montreal, and Mexico City, all added Formula One, Austin was the only Formula One race on the calendar in North America. So we're very proud of that. We now have a second professional team, the Austin FC football team. Let me transition, though. What Austin is best known for is live music and keeping it weird. This venue really is one of the most important venues in all of Austin for both of those. It was 50 years ago when Willie Nelson played the inaugural Austin City Limits, which was a gimmick. It was public broadcasting service asked affiliate channels in the United States, can you create some original programming for us that we can show on PBS stations? 50 years later, it's still running. Longest running musical program in television history. Willie has done it 15 times. That's the most. My statistics at the bottom here were from Wikipedia. They're a little out of date if you walk around and see the actual tallies out there. You'll see lots of posters from over the years. This year, the 50th anniversary year, we still have coming. It's mostly country music. We have Chris Stapleton, Sturgill Simpson, Winona Judd, my personal favorite, because my wife and I once sat down by a fireplace and talked to her for 20 minutes. It was kind of life-changing. Norah Jones. That's what's going on this year in the 50th anniversary of Austin City Limits. So enjoy this venue. It's special. It's also a bit of a dream come true because I've attended maybe 40 concerts here, always sitting kind of where all of you are, mostly up in the nosebleed sections. So I know what it's like for all of you to look down here. I have no idea until now what it's like to be speaking at. It's a bit of a dream come true, except I didn't get the musical talent to bring on stage. Enjoy. I hope you like the venue. Okay, so now let's talk e-commerce. And I just want to start off by saying we at BigCommerce are on the same journey many of you and your companies are on. It's to grow your top line and become ever more profitable. 6-7 years ago when we first started doing this, those of us who were venture funded or then public market funded didn't have that need to become profitable. But that's the world we live in today, and it's a better world. It's a more disciplined and, I think, rational world. We're proud that in Q2, we reported operating cash flow that was 14% of revenue. We've gone from being quite unprofitable when we IPO'd 4 years ago to now very nicely profitable. Our revenue grew about 10% in the first half of this year, and we also last quarter refinanced our debt. We retired some of it, extended some of it. We've got a really strong balance sheet. The point I make in all of this is that if you're a customer or a partner of ours, you are working with a company that is very well established, profitable, public and transparent as a result of that. And you can have confidence that what we are doing collectively and together is being built for the long run. Today also marks our second annual release of Next Big Thing. Next Big Thing is a semi-annual packaging of our latest and greatest product releases, more than 100 of them. We really do believe that in both breadth and depth, the investments in product we are making and the value of the releases are industry leading. Troy and team will say a lot more about that in an hour or so, so I'm not going to steal his thunder, but there is a lot there to love no matter who you are, whether you are a B2C customer of BigCommerce, a B2B customer, a customer of Feedonomics, or starting to get excited about our latest and greatest set of capabilities coming from MakeSwift. The context I want to provide for all of this and the vision statement is where we are trying to lead this company. This page looks exactly like the page from a year ago, even 3, 4, 5 years ago. Our strategy is very consistent. That middle row are the 5 things that we commit to all of you that we are working on to be the very, very best in the world of e-com platforms. The very best at enterprise, functionality and capabilities, the very best at international enablement, omnichannel through our Feedonomics business, B2B, and composable. And I thought for once this year, I'd actually hold us accountable. It's one thing to say you want to be the best, but what does the outside world, with no affiliation to us, think of how we're doing? How do they actually rate us? These are the objective ratings that the outside world has provided. So when it comes to enterprise, and here I'm talking about specifically B2C enterprise, we're rated a leader by IDC, and you'll see IDC on stage here these next 2 days. We're a strong performer by Forrester, but I would note that Forrester didn't rate anybody in the world a leader. And if you do the diagonal line on the wave, we're basically tied for number 2 globally in terms of enterprise B2C. Same is true with Everest, where we're basically tied for number 2, and then we're just on the adjacent other side of the leader line with Gartner. That's how the outside world perceives us, and I'm going to tell you what our plan through technology and storefront superiority we have to become an undisputed leader in the next year and actually give you the best technology and the best design and storefront environment of any platform in the world. Nobody rates international capabilities specifically. That's why that column is blank. Nobody yet rates omnichannel enablement, unfortunately. I guarantee you Feedonomics would sweep the ratings if somebody did. When the merchants of the world, the businesses of the world, rate their omnichannel platforms on G2, Feedonomics basically sweeps every category. They're number 1 in like 5, 6 different categories on G2. B2B is the one I'm proudest of. We didn't have a native B2B offering 5 years ago, even 4 years ago. And in just a few short years, we bought the 2 leading B2B applications in our marketplace. We've brought them into BigCommerce. We've created a buyer portal, which I think is the best user experience and platform for B2B enablement of any platform in the world. And as I'm going to show you in a few pages, we're now rated the undisputed number 1 in the world by Paradigm. I'll show you the Olympic League tables for that. It's kind of fun. And we're 4th even on enterprise, but just 2 points away from 2nd. I think we'll be top 2 within a year on enterprise B2B. IDC rates us a leader for mid-market G2. The world's businesses rate us 2nd best in the world. Occasionally, we're number 1 there. And then we're a strong performer on the enterprise side. And I think that's fair. We're not the best in the world yet at enterprise for B2B, but just give the team, Lance, John, Micah, McKinsey, et cetera, a year or 2, and I think we'll be number 1 or number 2 in the world for enterprise as well. And finally, there's composable, where IDC rates it specifically. We're a leader for enterprise. We're a leader for mid-market. We're the 2nd platform member of the Mock Alliance. And I'm going to bring composable then together with what we're doing in enterprise and B2B to sort of reveal the grand plan to make this the best overall enterprise platform in the world. As an example, here are the IDC assessments. I know it's an eye chart, but there's only one other platform in the world that is in the leader quadrant in all of these: B2C, B2B, mid-market, and enterprise composable, and that is Commerce Tools. What does this all add up to? What is the actual value to our merchants? We're really proud of these 2 statistics. When we look across the entire platform, 100% of all enterprise merchants that are on BigCommerce using any of our 3 flagship payment providers, the average site-wide conversion is 2.67%, which is more than 20% higher. I think it's like 30% higher than what the internet average was over that same time period. And of course, the internet average has sites like Amazon in it. It's far higher than we have seen reported by any of our competitors. And when it comes to checkout, this is a true statistic, 70% conversion of cart to checkout in the second half of last year. The internet average is about 40 to 45%. We have a large competitor who brags about their checkout conversion, who self-reports at 50. This is 70, and this is before you start incorporating the additional enhancements from products like PayPal Fastlane, which will get this even higher for those who are early adopters of it. And there are many, many, many hundreds of adopters already at PayPal Fastlane. So this is what it translates for our merchants. Ultimately, better conversion, better sales on your websites once you get customers to them. And with Feedonomics, we help you get customers to your website better than any other platform. So now how do we become number one on the product and the technology side in enterprise? And this is where enterprise, B2B, and composable all come together. We were the second, as I mentioned, platform to join the MACH Alliance. And we've been doing and supporting headless and composable builds since 2016. In fact, Harvard University, Business Press, Business Review was our first headless customer, and they're still with us today and thriving. In the years since, we have more than 4,000 headless and composable builds on BigCommerce with every conceivable front end, including the CMSs you see here, the frameworks you see here, search engines you see here. It, though, has been a choose-your-own-adventure all over that time, meaning the individual merchants, their agency partners, would pick the composable stack that they wanted to put together, sometimes starting from scratch, sometimes leveraging a reference architecture created by the agency. And as we've looked across all the technologies, we said, well, that's making it too hard. There actually now are technology frameworks that we think it would be beneficial to the market if we package that into a reference architecture ourselves. We picked Next.js and React, which happen to be the two most popular in the world right now. We believe the highest performing and the ones with the most innovation. And we put that together into what we call Catalyst. Catalyst is our reference architecture for a composable build based on Next.js and React. Everything in it is built off of an API infrastructure that is available to any customer on any composable build. So even if you don't want to use Catalyst, the same APIs can be used for a different build. But what's most powerful about this is then we will demo your ability to click a button, have a storefront within 60 seconds, up and operational on Catalyst, pre-integrated with all of the BigCommerce functionality via GraphQL APIs with enablement of MakeSwift, which is our acquisition from last year. We view it as the world's best visual editor, no code, low code for marketers and merchandisers for a Next.js build. It's not just our view of that. Guillermo, the founder of Next.js, the founder and CEO of Vercel, was in fact an investor in MakeSwift. This is extraordinary technology, and I think of all the things that may wow you at this conference, watching the demo of that is probably going to be a highlight. The point, though, is BigCommerce wants to bring to you, our customers, and you, our agency partners, not just the world's best product, but the world's best technology and the world's best tooling for creating extraordinary storefront experiences. Out of the box, this is going to have lighthouse scores of 100 for everything, 100 for speed, accessibility, SEO, and image rendering. And you can keep those 100 scores, building it to best practice standards. So this is now live. We have extraordinary customers who've already been built on Catalyst, and just wait till you see the MakeSwift demo on top of it, because we actually want it to be not just the choice for the technologists in the room, but for the marketers and the merchandisers who want to have the best visual editing tool, the most power at their fingertips with multi-user editing. That's what Make Swift is on top of it. And we believe this is going to put us and you a generation ahead of the old model. The old model was I buy a theme, I download the theme file, I edit the theme file, I use a page builder when I can. If not, I'm in the theme file. That's what Stencil is, that's what Shopify themes, Yahoo, Volusion, Salesforce, etc. This new model is based on Next.js and React, where you can start with an aesthetic. There is a React component library that you or others can contribute to. It is so much more powerful, so much faster technology on the front end. And we think this is the future of storefront design, the future of performance, the future of how an ecosystem works together. And it's something to be excited about. Okay. Last thing I want to say is on enterprise and B2C. Fiona and I worked on an analysis to just look at the market and what do the opportunities in the market look like. If you take the top 1,000 B2C websites in North America, Mexico, US, Canada, according to Digital Commerce 360, and you analyze what type of business all 1,000 of those are, they come into these 4 categories. The first category are digital native direct-to-consumer brands. Oftentimes, this is what people think about when they think internet, brand new brands like the ones you see listed that are on BigCommerce. It's 24% of all of the websites by count in the top 1,000. But believe it or not, it's only 5% of the GMV. Then go to branded manufacturers. These are the legacy brands who grew up decades ago, sold through third-party retail channels for the most part long before they ever contemplated direct-to-consumer in the last 20 years. These are 18% of all websites and only 11% of GMV. I would have said in our first 6 years of existence, when we were founded in 2009 and we were focused on small business, that far left column was our target customer. When I came in 2015, we had grown to be the second largest SaaS e-commerce platform, but Shopify had a really good 5-year head start, had already IPO'd, and it was clear to me that the world didn't need us to be an also-ran in that far left category. So we focused up market. We moved into the mid-market. We went after Magento. We said we wanted to create what we call open SaaS to compete with open source, starting with the mid-market and eventually enterprise. And for the last 9 years I've been here, branded manufacturers like those in that second column, I would say would have been, the complex ones, our best customer. But we also have quite a few in these other 2 categories, and that's the most interesting recent trend. Go to the third one, multi-brand online retailers, 36% of sites, but a whopping 50% of the GMV. In our last earnings announcement, 3 of our 5 big customer announcements were in this category. The RealReal, who's the largest luxury site of apparel and accessories in the United States, 1.5 billion roughly in GMV, was the flagship announcement. But out of the UK and Europe, Sole Trader and Sports Shoes, which are the 2 largest multi-brand sneaker and athletic apparel sites, also went live on BigCommerce. We're really, really strong in this category, and it's much more complex because of the multi-brand, multi-warehouse dynamics of it. And then finally, maybe the hardest category to serve are store-based retailers with all of their omnichannel complexity. 22% of the sites, 35% of the GMV. Our other 2 big announcements were in this category. And I'm most proud of Bell's. Shout out to them because I think they're in the audience here. 650 plus stores across multiple brands based in Florida. They were from contract signature to live, going from IBM WebSphere, that's really old legacy tech. They did that in just 3 months. And they did it as an early adopter of Catalyst, thank you. There are always sort of teething pains when you're an early adopter, but 3 months. Similarly, Anderton's, which is the biggest musical instruments store in London and the UK, they also came over to BigCommerce. We had another customer off of IBM WebSphere in 4 months. We were about to have another one go live in a week. Major store-based retailer, 4 months. Historically, nobody would have imagined this is possible. When they found out that Bell's had moved that quickly, third parties like Manhattan said, really? How is that possible? That is the maturity to which we have brought the platform. There's still lots more to do. We want to make it even faster and easier and more agile, but this is extraordinary. And so the point I'm making to everybody in this room is the world is now our oyster. We may not be the platform of choice for the majority of digital native direct-to-consumer startups, although for the complex ones, we argue we're still the best. But when you get into the complexities of those other 3 categories, BigCommerce has really come of age, and come of age at a time this year in 2024, and our last earnings announcement should be more apparent to the world than ever with case studies like those. Now switching to B2B. Title is wrong. This is B2B. These are the different groups, and sometimes some people will say, oh yeah, we do B2B because we can do hybrid B2B. In the far right corner, we will support wholesale selling by brands to small boutiques. That's not real B2B. Real B2B is when manufacturers are selling to their end consumers, distributors, wholesalers, professional services. We're going after real B2B, and we are innovating in our product at a pace that I think nobody in the world is coming close to. And we'll talk more about that on this next page, because we do all of these things. It's not just the hardcore things like multi-storefront, price list, customer groups, but all the other B2B specific functionality. And I'm amazed because we come out with another 3, 4, 5 major enhancements each and every year with the open sourcing of the buyer portal and role-based access controls being 2 of the most recent innovations just from this year. And then my favorite part on the B2B side is just having gone through the Olympics. If you look on the left-hand side here, Paradigm and Andy Hoare actually have an Olympics-like competition for B2B platforms. They award, if you're lucky, a gold, silver, or bronze in each of 12 different categories. And then we turn those results around into a league table. And as you'll see there, in this combine, as they call it, we won medals in 12 out of 12 categories, more golds, 8 than any other platform. And if you do the 3, 2, and 1 point rankings based on medals, we're easily the #1 platform in the world for mid-market. We view this as a very, very rigorous and thorough evaluation. And we earn these, over time. We weren't this high rated 3 years ago when we first started doing this. We've quickly gone to #1, and I think we're distancing the field. On the enterprise evaluation, we're tied for 4th. But on the point system in the far right, we're only 2 points out of 2nd, right? We can aspire to be at least #2 in the world, hopefully in next year's combine. And we really are going after the entire market for B2B leadership. Now switching to international, just a quick overview. BigCommerce didn't begin as an American or an Austin-based company. We started in Sydney, Australia in 2009. We were international from the beginning. Roughly 80% of those first 10,000 customers were in North America. So the founders were like, uh-oh, we're on the wrong side of the planet. We need to move our headquarters and take venture funding in the US. They picked Austin, moved the headquarters here in 2011. So we've been an American company ever since then, but international minded from the beginning. As many of you know, I ran PayPal Europe for 4 years. I've been part of solving an awful lot of e-commerce problems in other parts of the world. And shout out to Ireland, because that's where we started at PayPal Europe, had 1,000 people there. And today, we're very, very big in Europe, in addition to our original home in Australia and New Zealand. We have over 200 people in Europe. It's engineering product in addition to all the business functions. And so you can see that global nature of our company. Meanwhile, we're investing very heavily in our international capabilities. Multi-storefront has been out for several years. The completion of the multi-geographic component of multi-storefront is now done for all but 2 use cases. So you can see, you can have different storefronts with different languages, currencies, catalogs, even checkout and payment solutions and shipping solutions. We're working on right now the ability to have storefronts that are both tax inclusive in the pricing, like exists in Europe and the VAT countries, and tax exclusive, like in the US and Canada. That's coming out imminently. And then we're also working on the use case of multiple languages on a single storefront. You know, for example, Switzerland, where they have 3 languages, Canada 2. And we'll actually demo a version of that for Catalyst today, but we're also building that for the core and for Stencil. Feedonomics. As I mentioned, this is our strategy for omnichannel enablement. On average, B2C sites are getting 50% of their GMV, last click source, from a third-party website. Feedonomics is the best enabler of that success in the world. That's what merchants say on the left. You can see major brands like those on the right that are all trusting Feedonomics for their advertising and marketplace selling enablement. And these are the results. When Feedonomics surveys their customers, the biggest brands in the world, on average, they're saying they get almost 15 to 20% lift in sales and return on ad spend from all the major ad channels they use: Google, Facebook, TikTok, affiliate channels, display ads. In addition to that, for marketplace selling, Amazon, Walmart, Target, all the various marketplaces, more than 200, they're getting on average about a 20% lift in sales for the channels that they use, and they're adding more channels. Nobody enables more sales lift and better cost reduction on ad spend in the world than Feedonomics. So putting it all together, this is in essence what we provide. We give a customer of ours a storefront that we now are powering with the best tech in the world, and that on average has a higher conversion than the internet average by a long shot and our top competitors. We give you a checkout and a B2B experience with a 70% conversion rate, which we also think is industry leading. We give you B2B functionality that is now rated the best in the world for the mid-market, and we're knocking on the door for large enterprise. When it comes to marketing and growing top-line sales, Feedonomics is giving the best performance in the world for sales lift, whether it's through advertising channels, which is about, again, 50% of the volume source for B2C websites, or for marketplace channels when you're selling through a third party. We help you grow through multi-storefront, adding brands, geographies, and customer segments. And when it comes to operations, we're trying to help you lower your costs, on average, typically about 90% relative to legacy tech on the development side, and 30% when it comes to the marketing, merchandising, operations side. A warm welcome to some of the new customers. I mentioned The RealReal, I mentioned Bell's. You can see the others here that are using BigCommerce or Feedonomics in the last couple of months. And then finally, as I transition, we're making major changes organizationally here at BigCommerce. We want to get the word out. We want the world to realize that this product market strategy and fit, especially for those 5 strategic areas, is market leading. To do that, we brought in, and I'll introduce in just a second, Travis Hess, who is known to many of you. He built the world's biggest Shopify Plus agency. He sat on Shopify's advisory council. He was running B2C for Accenture Song. He's been in this industry a really long time, and he gives us the outside-in perspective from the outside world that will help us fill the gap, and how do we become truly great and assemble a dream team and turn this into a 2-horse race where BigCommerce is the fastest horse in the world for enterprise and those other categories. Tom Armstrong, another recent hire, top sales leader over the years from Amplience, from Salesforce and Commerce Cloud and Demandware. And we have a couple others that Travis may be mentioning in his introduction. So please join me in welcoming our global president overseeing sales, services, marketing, and all go-to-market, my partner in crime and somebody I've loved working with, Travis Hess.